95. Between local lines, notes from the Emirate.
Well, while all eyes have been on the UAE's successful mission to Mars recently, there's a new out-of-this-world experience available closer to home. It's called the Moon Retreat. It will soon open here in Sharjah. It's going to bring a luxury glamping site to the Martian-like landscapes of Mleiha region. And it's set to open in the first quarter of 2021, which is now, and around this time. It's a family-friendly destination. It's a retreat. It will be home to about 10 single-bed domes. But enough of me talking about this. We're going to listen in to the Director of Projects of Shurooq, Khawla Al Hashmi. Good morning, Khawla.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us. So let's start talking about the Moon Retreat, what it's all about. Just a little bit of a glimpse.
So with the Moon Retreat, we found that there's a niche market for someone who is not as adventurous and would sleep in a tent in the middle of the desert, but also wants to really experience what the desert experience can bring to you. And that basically was the birth of the idea of Moon Retreat. So it does give you some luxuries of being out there in the desert. And it gives you the balance of both experiences. You have the luxuries, but you have the full-on desert experience as well.
Right. And so what does it add to the offerings of Mleiha, let's say?
I think what it adds basically is a place for you to stay that still makes you comfortable. So you and your family can still go and enjoy the desert. You can go on all the, dune bashing experiences, trekking, hiking in the mountains. You can go stargazing in the middle of the night. And then by the end of the day, you have a comfortable space, a private space for you to spend the night, barbecue maybe in the privacy of your own tent.
So there are only 10 domes?
There's 10 domes and then there's 6 tents.
Okay.
We went for 2 different sort of structures, and we wanted to see how both of them would work in the extraterrestrial, let's say, plains of Mleiha.
And can you talk to us about some of the design choices? I mean, it's rather unique looking. It looks like something out of outer space. Like, how did that come about?
I mean, Mleiha, as I said, looks a bit extraterrestrial. Obviously, it's very terrestrial. I mean, this is our nature.
Right,
this is Earth. This is the nature of Mleiha. But there are aspects of this location that are very intriguing, and we felt like something needed to stand out. And, in the recent years of the UAE looking into Mars and all of the attention that we're giving Mars, we thought, let's play on that a little bit, and let's be a bit adventurous with how we go and take this project.
So what facilities do the tents have, and how are they kind of constructed?
So we've brought in the tents actually from suppliers from abroad, and we've done the substructure here in the UAE, and then everything else has come from abroad and is assembled on site. Okay. Obviously, we tried to make sure that everything is as minimal as possible when it comes to construction on site and whatever we sort of intervene into the environment, as it's a very sensitive area, and we did not want to ruin the nature that it's in. We wanted to enhance it. And then whatever is within the dome is basically everything you would need without necessarily calling housekeeping or calling room service. Right. So you'd have your own kitchenette, you'd have a barbecue area, there's a private pool, obviously, your bed, toilet facilities and all of that. So what we wanted to do with this project as well is, with the popularity of Airbnbs, we wanted to explore how much can we push that in terms of giving the 5-star treatment or hospitality, but at the same time, we felt like there's a market of people who want to be left alone.
That's right.
Especially for this location where you're literally in the middle of the desert.
Right.
Do you want to be left alone? You probably do. Yeah. And that's why you booked it, right? Yeah. So there will be bare minimum interaction with the operator. When you order your food, they're going to bring you a basket that you barbecue yourself. Someone will leave it at your door. Breakfast will be served in the same manner.
You can't bring your own food?
You can bring your own food as well.
Okay.
So when you book it, you just put your preference, whether you want to be left alone, whether you want to, order breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever it is. You can go out around Mleiha, so there would be as well a list of suggestions where you could go and have your meals. The whole point is that really it's the platform for you to stay in, but really explore Mleiha and explore the surroundings of Mleiha. So Al Fire Retreat is nearby, the Mleiha Archaeological Center, the archaeological sites are also nearby.
Are there any limitations when it comes to, for example, the nights, the number of nights that you can stay, the number of people that should be in one tent?
The number of nights, I don't think so, for as long as anyone would like to stay.
Right.
Can afford it.
Yeah.
We've made it affordable, relatively affordable.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yes,
good.
yes,
Good news.
for sure. And for the number of people for the domes, I would say 3.
Okay.
But even then, maybe we're pushing it because we really wanted to give that very dome-like experience. And the bigger you go, the less you feel like you're under a dome structure.
Yeah.
So we really went very limited in terms of their sizes. They're not for everyone as well. Like they're very, very experiential, I would say.
Yeah.
And with the tents, you can probably go a little more. We have the 2-bedroom tents as well for the slightly bigger families or group of friends who want to go together.
Amazing. Now, I'm going to talk business as well. Now, you've got the Mleiha Archaeological Centre. You've got your own overnight camping, glamping experience there. You've got the Al Badayr. You've got the Al Fire Retreat as well, as part of Sharjah collection. So why a new feature? Why have another sort of retreat when you're offering somewhat of a similar kind of service with a very glamorous touch as well? And the other resorts that do tend to be slightly pricey as well, but having a moon retreat, the idea behind it.
I think the more I personally got to explore Mleiha and the central region of Sharjah, the more I realized how very different they are from one another. And each one of them, like you said, are similar, but also offer very different things and very different experiences. So Al Badayr still offers you more of a hands-on experience when it comes to the operator still being on board, still being, in your life, so to speak. But with the Moon Retreat, we wanted to really explore that further, where, you're literally left alone. But at the same time, a balance with some amenities, where you're not literally in a tent that you've set up.
So what do you have at the moment with the archaeological centre? Because they do have their overnight camping.
Yes,
is it similar or would different?
These are tents that they would set up for you, and you'd literally stay in the dunes, watching the sunrise, which are absolutely amazing and stunning. But I personally did not try it because it's not for me, right? I still require some place where I am sleeping on a bed and do have, so to speak, my toilet. And
that's true. Yeah.
So there is that that gap in the offerings, I think, in Mleiha, which Moon Retreat will fulfill.
Wow. And you've spoken about the proximity to the archaeological center. Can you talk to us more about what people can do in the surrounding area of this Moon Retreat?
Yeah, so we constantly as well add more to the offering. But the most recent, I believe, is I saw someone operating paraglides over there. There's the, the dune bashing, the buggies, the trekking, archaeological sites. There's the walks through the caves. I mean, it's absolutely, so there's horse riding, the desert lounge or the... So there's everything that anyone can want to do in the desert, but done in a very educational, authentic manner as well. So I've been to the stargazing experience as well, where someone would explain to you that's Mars and that's Venus and that's it was a very educational experience as well, which brings me to why we named it the Moon Retreat to begin with. And I think the sky in Mleiha, we're very fortunate because of the lack of, or the very minimal light pollution. You get to see the stars in the sky very, very clearly. And the moon is one of the, the view of the moon in Mleiha is one of the best I've seen in the UAE. And hence the name Moon Retreat. So, the moon is stunning in Mleiha.
Do we have an exact date so far of when this is opening?
We do. I don't know if I can announce it on air.
Okay.
I was trying.
We'll tease. We'll continue to tease.
All right.
Awesome.
But it's
like
in the
you
first
said,
quarter.
one is ending soon. So
it's soon.
It's soon.
So it's either this month or next month. It can't be in April. Right?
Where's my PR team? Where's my backup?
I'm trying to steal answers.
But yeah, quick question. Can you talk to us more? Because we've seen a lot of those eco-friendly glamping sites that you guys are putting forth. Can you talk to us about the appeal of those in particular and why they're so popular among people, the desire to build them in the first place?
For sure. I think the hospitality industry is changing drastically. And in the past few years, we've seen it done. And I think with COVID as well, a lot of people have realized that, they want a different experience. And for example, I have younger siblings and they would never travel to, the typical hotel of 200 keys and they just seek a pool or whatever. Wherever they go, there is a popularity for that sort of Airbnb concept where you're sort of embedded within the experience, whatever the experience is, whether it's a city experience, a nature experience, archaeological experience, they want to be in the center of what's happening.
Yeah.
And I think that is what we've sort of capitalized on. When it comes to Sharjah, we have a lot of beautiful landscapes and beautiful areas to explore. So each one of the Sharjah collection is supposed to sort of celebrate what it is about. So Mleiha is very different than Kingfisher Lodge, than Bidayar, than Al Faya. They're all very different because they celebrate the location, they celebrate the context they're within.
I want to talk business again. Now, we're starting again we're starting at the Q1 or the end of Q1 2021. That's what has been publicly announced. But as soon as the Q1 ends, it's summer. It's going to be touching degrees of 40 degrees, 42. Now, I would happily camp in that heat. But if I have a spouse, if I have the younger kids, if I have friends who are very uncomfortable in the heat, can the moon retreat cater to their needs? Who are we really targeting with this moon retreat? So
I'll be very honest with you. We're having these discussions as we speak as well, whether we should close for the summer or operate. And we've had these discussions even with Kingfisher and with Al Faya and Bidayar. A lot of them became more popular in summer. So we thought, there is a need for these destinations in summer. What we did is we tried to cater to what can we do in summer. So there is a private pool where you can cool off. They are air-conditioned environments anyway within the tents or within the domes. And then even with the exploring, there's sometimes when you go to a certain height or when you're outside in nature, it's not as hot as we think. There are certain times of the day where you'd still be able to do certain things. I mean, we've been to site for the past year, during construction and during just exploring where the site needs to be, where we should place tents, and we've been through Ramadan, we've been through, the middle of the day in summer. It can get hot if you dress appropriately. If you are expecting the heat, then you will still get to enjoy the place.
Well, it's all down to personal preferences as well, isn't it? But then we've got these wonderful experience of having to cook your own meal as well. That is always a massive seller. Have you been down to the moon retreat yourself? Any little secret anything you have?
We go there every week.
Every week, wow. So from a personal opinion, if you were to give what people can expect and why should they be looking forward to it, if you could say that.
So for me, I think as much as I say that this is a platform for you to explore outside of Mleiha, I find that it is an escape in itself, and there is beautiful mountains and valleys just within it, within the location. So I would say just spend 2 days, but stay there. Order your meals, do your thing. It's actually very nice and quiet and peaceful. I would. That's the first thing I would do is just go hiking, go trekking, spend some time with the kids in the pool. Just enjoy the place as it is.
Very important question as well. Is it Instagrammable?
This is a very important question because now when we start a new project, you almost start it with that in mind. What is the Instagrammable moment?
Yeah.
And what am I selling? Because people will see it. The experience should show from that photo that people are going to look at in 2 seconds and judge your destination.
Exactly.
So it definitely is, I would say, and we definitely put it in our design phase to begin with. Like, what is the Instagrammable moment? What is memorable about this place?
Spectacular.
Spectacular indeed. Mleiha certainly is a place often described as the cradle of civilization. It's also a place where you find lots of fossils, which means that it does have hints and let's say, clues that there was marine life around thousands of years ago. So you will be part of that. And now, with the moon retreat, there's lots more to look forward to in the Mleiha region. Khawla Al Hashmi, Director of Projects at Shurooq, thank you very much for joining us and spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me.
It was great to have you part of the Majlis crew for sure. We'll be back again, and if you want to explore more things within the Emirate of Sharjah that the team at Shurooq have worked quite a lot on as well, is the House of Wisdom. Do head on down, because that's where we first had a debut interview of Khawla Al Hashmi with us on the Morning Majlis. Stay tuned, we've got the business news up next.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.